Good evening, Team Genesis, associates, and guests, and thank you for joining us here tonight. My name is Diane Stech, and I am Vice President with CTFO, and it is my sincere pleasure to spend some time with you this evening and a very special guest, our very own Janet Larson Meyer, Executive Vice President and Woman Extraordinaire with CTFO. Let me tell you a little bit about her. Janet is recognized as a charismatic leader with excellent communication skills. She has built and led sales teams that set domestic and international companies records, earning recognition as a top performer in several programs over the course of her very impressive 20-plus years in this industry. Her professional network marketing success story is featured in top-selling books like The Result is Money and Guerrilla Marketing, along with numerous and various magazine articles. Her greatest accomplishment and recognition was being inducted into the $1 Million Mavens Club of the Direct Selling World Alliance. Janet is in her own element when she's introducing best-in-class products and services to clients she's confident will benefit. That's why CTFO is such a great fit for her. Janet's personal free time is spent mostly with her precious family, which includes her husband, her 4 children, and 4.5 grandchildren. She enjoys simple things in life, she says, family get-togethers, physical activities such as swimming and walking and biking, fast motorcycle rides, and most of all, beach vacations. Good evening, Janet, and how are you tonight?
I'm doing great, Diane. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. Well, thank you for giving us time to get to know you better on both the professional and personal level. And I've had the privilege of hearing your story before, and Janet, honestly, it has always inspired and motivated me. I'm sure our guests tonight will feel the same and appreciate the nuggets of wisdom that they will glean from our time together.
Well, I hope so, Diane. Thanks so much for letting me be in the hot seat.
Oh, my pleasure. It's your turn. So let's have some fun. Let's start with, what is it about the network marketing industry that's so appealing to you?
I love everything about the industry, but first of all, it gives anyone the chance to succeed regardless of their education level. And without years and lots of money getting a college degree, like thousands and thousands of people are making 6 figures in network marketing, and with CTFO, that there's not even an investment required. And when you think about it, Diane, if you wanted to open a CBD distribution business yourself, you'd need to come up with contracts and agreements with hemp growers and manufacturers, and you need a business license. You need lots of money for all the startup costs like hiring people, leasing or buying your space, designing products, packaging and product labels, warehousing, inventory, product labels, order processing systems, product fulfillment. I mean, the list goes on and on. Here, all of that is done for you. You just have to do the one job that's essential to any business, which is to find customers who are willing to buy your product. With an easy and cost-effective way to get started in business with no risk, it's just the only way to go. If I never even found one person who wanted to buy anything from me, I've not wasted any money setting up a business. But the neat thing is I did find a person who found a person, and so on and so on. And now that has led to a team of almost 200,000 associates today.
Amazing. That is absolutely amazing, Janet. You're absolutely right about everything you just pointed out. What is your greatest accomplishment in this industry then?
Well, if I could circle back around and touch on something rather than speak solely to the money-making aspect of our business, can I touch one other part of network marketing that is my favorite and I find so rewarding? Let's just delve into the personal and professional growth opportunities that network marketing provides us. And I call it like the chance to live your best life on your terms. And we talk about it, Diane, on so many of these Wednesday night meetings, but I'm not sure our associates and guests really understand what I'm meaning there. Network marketing, and let's talk about CTFO more specifically, it kind of provides us with what I call like a pruning ground. And it allows us to become the grandest versions of ourselves. And Here we have the opportunity to cut away the parts of us that aren't desirable anymore and that don't serve us any longer, and then feed the parts of us that we want to grow and flourish. So every day, every associate here has the chance to ask themselves two questions. First, what's important to me today? And then next, how do I want to spend my time? And I think that's an awesome way to live. Like, where in the job force can you do that? Once each has a chance to kind of do some introspection and decide what truly matters to us, and I call that our governing values, then we get to create our daily activities to reflect those values. And then the answer to having a successful business and life in achieving the financial goals and feeling good about ourselves, that comes from identifying what we really want, Diane, and then doing what it takes to get what we want. And then as I see it, our self-esteem goes up, and it goes right up along with our checks.
And that is awesome. That's exactly what we want. So so let me ask you this then, Janet. What personal challenges have you had to overcome to experience success on such a huge scale in the network marketing arena?
Well, that would be overcoming like my personal obstacles that I've had to overcome.
Right.
That would be learning to be self-sufficient and independent as an adult. And that was certainly a big challenge for me. I had to, Diane, let go of my fantasies that someone was a man, was going to come in and do all that for me, and I wouldn't have to worry about earning enough money to pay family bills and keep the lights on and keep food on the table. And after a few marriage disappointments, I was forced to take on the role of breadwinner and household manager, as well as being the mom and the homemaker that my kids needed, which was like 2 full-time jobs at the same time. And certainly another challenge that I've had to overcome, to this day I'm still working on it, is to work to overcome a learning disability. And I've talked about this before. I took a serious blow to the head with a baseball bat when I was a young girl, which we believe is the cause for my problems with reading and writing and sometimes even speaking and certainly retaining things. And then in addition to that, not pursuing a higher education to continue to learn past high school, well, that didn't help matters either. So kind of how I've positively learned to frame that is, I sure wish I didn't have these handicaps, but I do. However, what I lack in smarts, I make up for in heart and determination and courage, and that's always been a winning combination for me. So I really found out for myself that just because something was difficult doesn't mean it's impossible. And if I just have to spend some more time doing things right from start to finish, as long as I can eventually get to a good finished product that I'm proud to share with this exceptional team, it's all okay. So I'll say a final challenge that I had to overcome, and it's one that many of your viewers can relate to, is that at the early part of my career, I found myself having to juggle a full-time job with my commitment to grow my CBD business. And I did that for several months until I was consistently earning a 5-figure-a-month income. And I'll tell you what, as soon as I hit that, I couldn't wait to kiss off my job as a marketing director at a pain relief center here in Tempe, Arizona, and really full-time focus on what I love, which is this business and all the people in it.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you shared that with me when I first got a chance to meet you, Janet, that you were working how many hours? 40, 50, 60 hours a week and still growing this business. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's amazing. That is just amazing. You are my superwoman, by the way, just so you know. So let's bring this a little closer to home. What's your greatest accomplishment here at CTFO?
Oh boy, I know he's listening in. It would be recruiting industry icon and now my dear friend Klaus Urbanek. That's the greatest feather in my cap here at CTFO, first and foremost. And next, I would say, Diane, would be the fact that I've been able to develop, along with other leaders here at CTFO, some really highly effective quality resources and tools. And these meetings being one of those, our Saturday trainings being a continuum of that. And then, of course, our Best in Industry digital toolbox that's exclusive for Team Genesis associates. Because as you referenced, I've had decades in this industry, a long and successful run up here, but I've never taken it upon myself to create systems and solicit the help of great talent all around me and build something that would benefit every new and existing associate. And it's like a treasure box that what we've created, and everything that matters to the success of people is in this toolbox, and it's available immediately and at no cost. So I'm very proud of that.
Absolutely, Janet. That's one thing I have to say in this company is that we have so much support, so many tools. There's no reason why someone can't be successful here, and that's you and Klaus and Joe putting these all together, and our executive team. So, we thank you for that. It's awesome. Janet, I see you on camera every week, and you appear to have everything so together always. But I know as your friend that you're still dealing with a lot of physical challenges and issues. So my question for you is, what are some of your hardships today? And how are you dealing with those while still focusing on building your CTFO business? It's amazing.
That's a good question. I started out my career here having had a severe back and knee injury from 2 motorcycle accidents. And 2 weeks into joining CTFO, I had a stem cell treatment in my back and my knees, and that kept me homebound for the whole month. And that procedure, it was absolutely the key to my total recovery, my relief from pain. But of course, that whole journey began, and the first part of that story started out with using CBD. That was the beginning of regaining my health, and then the beginning of my CTFO career. And so I no sooner put that challenge to bed that I experienced a frostbite type cold injury to my feet and toes. And I've got so many people praying for my toes. It's kind of funny, and it's precious, and keep the prayers coming. But I had a cryotherapy session gone bad in late 2017, and my condition of frostbitten toes has continued to worsen all the way up to today. So right before your eyes, in front of everyone, in full view, between these Wednesday meetings, I've had a total of 6 surgeries since the fall of 2018 to try to recover and save my toes. I bled out during one of those surgeries, and finally had a stem cell treatment just this past June. That's still a little too early to call as to whether or not it'll be totally successful. So the reason that I'm sharing this is because there's lots of people in this meeting who have their own health challenges, and I so get it. And I just want to say to you, I'm proud of you for not letting your conditions or your challenges define or defeat you. We banded together here, ladies and gentlemen, and we're better than the sum of our parts.
Okay, I'm back. Janet, can you hear me?
I sure can.
Okay, sorry about that. Bad connection in the house here. Did you finish that? Did you finish that?
Sure.
Your comments. Okay, great. So let's move on then. So just about everyone would tell you that goal setting is a critical part of success. Why don't you share with us some of your goals, if you don't mind?
Sure. And Klaus has been a great one to teach us about the importance of goal setting, right, Diane?
Yes, absolutely.
So for me, my goals would be around continuing to grow and perfect the resources for Team Genesis. We have some great talent that we'll be introducing soon that will be contributing to helping us actually reach that goal. And another goal is to grow within the Hispanic market and give that community of great people a chance to help one another and make money with our simple business opportunity and built around natural healing products. I just believe it's a perfect fit for them. And I've also set a goal for myself to develop people on our team to take on greater leadership roles and step into the spotlight and allow me the opportunity to step back a little bit and build more leaders to share their talents and what's worked for them with our viewers each week on these webinars.
Well, we certainly do appreciate that.
And, you know,
so Janet, go ahead.
I was just going to say, my personal goal for myself would be that I'm going to be a presidential director in the first quarter of 2020. And that's a lofty goal, but I'm confident I can hit that.
I am totally confident you'll be able to do it. Absolutely. You said it earlier. You said your team is just short of 200,000 associates today. Congratulations. That is just awesome. My question would be, how did you build such a large organization so fast?
Well, you have to remember that only about 200 of those associates are my personal enrollees, and the rest of the team comes from the amazing associates that are here that have all done an incredible job growing their businesses, which of course adds to my pile, so to speak. So this is where the leveraging other people's time and talent comes into play, Diane, and that happens in this industry. And I really commit a good portion of my week to reaching deep down into my organization and working with serious business builders that I find to help them achieve their goals. And I do it through strategy sessions and three-way calls and my favorite up close and personal Zoom meetings. So it's hard. It's not all that hard to put that kind of insane number on the board. It's a big number, albeit, but it's kind of like what Joe Malooly says. This program is a no-brainer. We have products that almost everybody wants and needs. And in addition, we have a virtually free ready-made business opportunity. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. So not all that exceptional of a mark to hit. And I know many of you will be joining me there.
Absolutely. So let's ask you this. Is there anything else that you can tell us about how you market your business?
Well, each week we hear—
Give us some hints there.
We hear a ton of great hints and ideas from associates all over the country on these Wednesday night meetings. And yes, I do a lot of what is mentioned on those meetings. I learn from each and every one of them. For example, I certainly use social media in all ways that we've discussed. And because it's not a strength for me, I've hired an assistant to help me with that. So she manages my CTFO page and helps put up messaging and graphics out there to attract new leads for me. And with that, I'll say that one of my big breakthroughs that I want to impart to people tonight is, I've shared with you some of the things that I do well. We've spent even more time talking about my challenges, but for all of you, you have some choices in front of you. You can either overcome the things that you are challenging to you, meaning turn a weakness into a strength, or on this playing field, rich and ripe as it is, you can recruit someone who possesses a skill or knowledge that you need and just add them to your team and your success mix, or do what I did with my executive assistant and hire someone to fill those gaps. So I think that's important for us to know that we all have resources available to us. It's just, how do we want to go at it? In addition, when we get to the marketing strategies, I, more than most people, reach out to friends and family and business associates from my database and contact list. Diane, I suppose that's part of the old school part of me, but I recognize that when you have real relationships with people where you really know about them, they recognize your voice and you them, they tend to come in here and stick better than people who are just messaging on the surface in Facebook. So I try to find a balance in that portfolio, even with my people that I've enrolled through Facebook promotions. I still reach out and I make it personal and I phone and I connect with those people. So the family, friends, and business people I go through all the time. I have a long database. I don't get to it as much as I want, but certainly that's a high priority for me. And I embrace every opportunity to talk to people that I come across out in public, whether it be my driver or people shopping, the doctors and nurses that are caring for me. Some of them are enrolled here. Checkout clerks at stores. All of those people, I feel I'm very blessed to have we talked about, Diane, the gift of gab. I'm really comfortable talking to them. And I believe it's because I don't have an attachment to the outcome. From the bottom of my heart, I just want to know who they are. I want to know their story. And that we might have a gift to share with each other if it's just in our story. For some people, what I have will be a fit for him, others not, but I never regret that connection. And then finally, I'll add to my marketing repertoire as I begin to heal, because I've had a hard time even wearing shoes over the course of the last couple of years. toes and feet begin to heal. And I'm going to start committing to doing some health and career expos and network marketing mixers and mix it up a little, because I love both of those. And I'm uber effective at identifying opportunities in those types of events and converting them into associates. And hopefully they'll be buying product and building our business to some degree. So that's kind of what's on my menu of marketing strategies. And in the near future, just for everybody's knowledge here, we'll be introducing some marketing strategies where people will be approaching our associates, our Team Genesis associates, and asking them to tell them about our CBD. And I really believe, Diane, that most people are comfortable responding to an interested person who asks them about CBD. So we'll be delivering in the very near future what it'll take to create that scenario time and time again. I'm excited about that.
You know, I hear you again with that. Warm market is such an important place to start. Mm-hmm. And I see that over and over again in my business. And I try to share that with all of the new associates that join with me, is that approach your warm market. They're the people who know you and trust you. And you are the master at that. You've got such a great way to relate to people, Janet. And it's easy. And, you know, bottom line, what I hear you saying is you care. And people know that. And they feel that. And that is, I think, what we need to impart on people. So thank you for sharing that. So what does an average day carried out throughout the week look like for you? What do you do every day, Janet?
Well, I start my day really early. I'm a morning person, and I'm one of those people that's good for nothing by 8 o'clock at night. But I normally start my morning out at about 4 or 5 o'clock, and I get myself some tea. And then I head in, you know, I make that long commute to my home office just down the hall, Diane. And I'm happy to say that I just have to walk down the hall because I'm not a very good driver. But we'll save that for another webinar on driving instruction. But I go into my office and I have a whiteboard alongside my desk, and I spend some quiet time and I design my day. And I do what I've taught on these different trainings. I actually practice what I preach. I list out my daily priority tasks, all the things that I want to accomplish during the day, and then I categorize them. The most critical things that I need to do compared to important things, and then less important things. And the most amazing thing happens that even with all the distractions that come up during the day, and I'm getting better at batting those away so I can stay focused.
Yes.
If I can just hit, Diane, those critical things, and I talked about this at the very top of this webinar, I feel good about myself. I have done a job well done for my associates. I've been accountable. I've been supportive. I've done what I agreed to do. And that if I can just satisfy those critical things, which aren't always the things I want to do, but what needs to happen, I feel so good about myself at the end of the day. And then Chip has helped me realize that through that book, what is it called? The 10 Natural Laws of Successful Time and Life Management by Hiram Smith. I say it all the time. I wish I could get royalties on that. But the idea is that that's where our inner peace comes from, so that we can let go of some of the turmoil because we didn't prioritize things correctly. And we miss the mark. And sometimes it not only negatively impacts us, it negatively impacts people around us. So I hit that whiteboard first thing and design my day. My day doesn't happen by happenstance. I no longer cartwheel through the circumstances of a day. I actually design my success. And that has been so instrumental to my success. Then I head into the kitchen and I'm happy to actually do the domestic thing and make a breakfast and pack lunch for Chip. And I enjoy doing that every day. And then I head out for a walk, and I try to walk here in Phoenix, Arizona before we hit 100 degrees. And I walk and I talk with my associates, and they're always productive calls. They're pleasurable calls. So I make the most of that time. I'm building some habits, and maybe this, I recognize this in old people, Diane, that how they're very habitual in the paths that they drive to places and the course of their day. I'm sure I'm getting old because I myself am developing some habits, but I'm in the habit now of Monday through Wednesday. I do little outbound calls. I'll take what comes in and what's of high priority, but I really focus on interviewing, first finding great guests for these webinars. You and your partner, Lee, have been wonderful being a part of this forum with me many times. So I have to find good guests, them, write notes and questions, and then write the promotions for these emails. And It doesn't sound like a big deal, but if you go back and think about the challenges that I have with learning, just even writing those emails that you guys receive each week, for some of you, it would take you 45 minutes. For me, it takes me hours and hours. So that's a part of my Monday through Wednesday routine. And Thursday and Friday, I pack myself from bell to bell with scheduled calls and Zoom meetings to help my team. And then here's a little gem that might be of benefit to people. So you guys recognize that I'm an executive vice president. I have 200,000K plus legs. So to get to presidential director, I need a third leg. So when I'm working very aggressively Thursdays and Fridays to accomplish things with my associates here at CTFO, I'm selectively targeting some of my downline that I've recognized have high potential.
Smart.
Especially those in my non-EVP legs, because I need to grow just one other leg, one other EVP leg with $100,000 in volume, holding in a 31-day rolling cycle to become that presidential director. So there's some strategy to that. And in those existing EVP legs, I have to assume and know this to be a fact, there's some strong leaders in there that are self-directed and self-motivated. So I'm wise enough to focus my money where, or focus my attention where money will grow. And then finally, I would say, as part of my daily and weekly regime, and this gets back to why I love network marketing, I love the freedom just to pack up anytime I want and walk away from my home office and go see my elderly mom. She's 88 years old, and my daughter and my granddaughter, and I can keep all of the medical appointments that I've had to keep up with to recover my health. And I never have to ask anyone permission, Diane, to leave my place. There's no boss. I am my own boss, and that works for me. And I'm happy to say, as a result of the disciplines that I'm starting to implement into my day, I find myself having better work-life balance. And if we go all the way back to some of my corporate calls last year, we talked about challenges. It was what so many of us struggle with, is how do you balance that work-life balance? What does that look like? And finally, I've gotten to a place by design where I can shut down my business in the evening and enjoy my hubs, and do the same on the weekend and recharge and reaffirm our relationship and enjoy life. And it's just a glorious way to be.
I agree. Absolutely. That's the perfect life. That's what we all want, is that perfect balance. You mentioned associates. You use that term a lot. Do you have more associates or customers? Can you address that for me?
Oh, yeah. I have a lot more associates, I have very, very few customers in my organization. Of course, they're sidelined to us and not in our matrix, but much, much heavier on the associate side.
And why is that? Are there some advantages or perhaps disadvantages? Can you share your insights with us on that?
Well, of course, Diane, we have to always be sensitive to the information and expressed wishes of the person that we're engaging, the prospect that we're trying to help them find their right path here. But I'm so deeply convicted that being an associate here is the right way, and almost the only way, with few exceptions.
I agree.
And I'm very effective at conveying that to a person. And just by asking a prospect a few questions on why they would ever choose to be a guest retail customer here and pay much more for the same product that we enjoy for a fraction of that, or even to be a preferred customer. What are you thinking, and why would you say no to being an associate? Today, you might not know anyone else other than yourself that would want to go shopping in your store and find something to relieve a condition. But do you think in the next week or month or years to come, you might run into someone with pain or inflammation or sleeping, skin conditions, all the other things that we know that our CBD works to relieve or eliminate? So I think it's because I really understand the benefits of being an associate for them and for me, and I'm very, very effective at conveying that.
That's the key. You take a lot of time and you explain that, and I know that's very, very helpful. You also said something today when you and I were talking about the comp plan, that if you don't mind addressing that, about the PSPs, profit sharing positions. Can you address that just real quickly?
Oh yeah, isn't that a glorious thing? PS.
It is. I love it.
Yeah. So, and Joe Malooly really brought this home last week on last Saturday's training, and Klaus further um, uh, described that to me in a follow-up call. When we enroll people as an associate here, beginning with our fourth associate, and for every associate we onboard for the remainder of our career, CTFO generously gives us a business entity with our name on it. It's called a PSP, a profit sharing position. So Joe's point that he made was that when you enroll people, of course we want them to buy product, and we hope that many of them will go off and grow a business for them and for us. But
Sure.
Let's face it, most of them won't, Diane. Most of them won't. But they're still of value to us, because just through the enrollment and them falling into our matrix, they create that PSP for us, which is a commissionable entity. You don't have
That's awesome. And the customer doesn't, just to summarize that.
Right.
Right.
So only through an associate enrollment do you get that PSP beginning with your fourth enrollment and on. And so it creates multiple opportunities for us to be paid from the bottom of our matrix, from whatever level is full, to all of the PSPs in that pay line, all the way up to our very top center. So for those of us who are recruiting and continuing to prioritize that, we're creating an incredible amount of positions ourselves within our own matrix that we can be paid 3 or 4 times on any spend or purchase in an associate's business center. It's just a great way to get richer faster. Why not?
I agree completely. That is fun. Lee and I have learned a lot from you about how to make appropriate product recommendations for a new customer or associate. Do you want to cover that for us tonight for the benefit of new associates that are watching that perhaps haven't done three-way calls with you in the past?
I love to be a girl on prospects, customers, or associates make sound, appropriate choices for their first product or products.
Exactly.
So, I want to just share with everyone that my engagement with them, the way I'm able to steer them through that product selection, begins with asking the right questions. So first I ask the person that I'm visiting with, typically on the phone, like, what conditions are you looking to improve? What condition or conditions are you looking to improve? And then I ask them, what's the severity of the condition or conditions that you've just shared with me? And then rate it on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest and the most intense.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the frequency of the condition? Are you experiencing this every now and again? Or does this negatively impact your quality of life often? Tell me the frequency. And then finally, what budget do you have to work with? And it's like the sales process. It's like anything else, Diane. You have to gather information before you make that recommendation. And I really learned this the hard way. You have to do that first. And I learned that by making a case for 1500 10x Pure for someone who I did hear what conditions it was that she was trying to overcome, but I didn't go further in my investigation to uncover her financial situation. So I made a great case for why 10x Pure was the perfect product to address her condition. But when I shared that with her, and then she asked the cost of the product, she had a fraction of that money available to her. And then it was a great disappointment, a real takeaway to her. Well, you can't have 1500 10x Pure, but you can afford the 500 full spectrum whole plant. And it was a lot of backpedaling. And to be honest with you, that was just poor professionalism on my part. That was lack of good business acumen or salesmanship. So you ask those questions up front, and then I'll share with people after I take that information in, I have everything I know. I try to be an influencer, not for my best interest, but for the best interest of the person I'm talking to, right?
Of course, right.
You know, Diane, that people get passionate about this business, and it largely is born out of their product experience, right? So exactly. I want to do everything I can to make sure that that product experience meets or exceeds the expectation of the person I'm visiting with. So I try to always introduce the 500 or 1500 10x Pure for the benefit of the better absorption and bioavailability of the product. Not by a little bit, but by a lot of it, right? And you can use a little less product and get even better benefits. So I try to stick with that. Then I also make the case, especially if this is an associate that we've brought on board, this is our blue ocean strategy, this 10X Pure. It's the difference between us and every other CBD peddler out there. So you might as well take advantage of it. Certainly just take a look at the homepage of our website and you'll recognize where the company's focus is. If you listen in on these Tuesday calls, you'll recognize that we're going to go further down.
Absolutely. Okay.
10X Pure consideration intensity. Then I'll also reference that the Super Gold, the 10X Pure Gold Super 1000, I guess it's called, it has a primary focus on pain and inflammation, and it should be recommended in some situations, but not all. So the person who belongs in that type of product, that where it makes sense for them, is someone who almost exclusively references those conditions. If you have someone who has a broad array of conditions like myself, pain, inflammation, problem sleeping, acne, anxious and almost experiencing anxiety, an addiction to sugar, that's not the right product for me. Yep, I do have pain and inflammation, but there's less of the other broad spectrum of cannabinoids, and it's so dense and focused on the A, you want to make sure to pick up all the benefits of those other cannabinoids. So the 1500 10X Pure makes better sense. So does that make sense to you?
It does, and I appreciate you sharing that because I didn't realize that. So that was really important what you just shared with us. Thank you, Janet.
Yeah, and then I seldom share that and make recommendations with people to get the isolate. And the reason being is because you cut away some of the healing aspects of that plant when you're only taking in the isolate. And for some people, it's critical. It's part of of protecting their careers, and I get it, and they'll still get benefits. But only under those circumstances, Diane, do I recommend isolate. And I can tell you that in my former job, I was drug tested and tested negative, and I don't know anyone personally in my organization that used a quality urine test for drugs and actually tested positive for THC on the trace amounts that's in our whole plant. So I'll just say that. So if we talk about focusing on 500 10X Pure and 1500 10X Pure, we touched on the reasons why. We said isolates are important for few but some. Then I use the full spectrum whole plant as kind of my drop down sale. Some people cannot afford a kind of pricey product with the 10X Pure, though I definitely make the case you can use more and still benefit. So for those people, then I've kind of built a scale or a graduum, a continuum of products. And I've shared this with you and Lee and your prospects a lot till you guys can do it better than me. But we'll start out and talk about the 300 full spectrum whole plant, 300 milligram. And I recommend those as a non-health expert. I let people know I am not a professional health provider. I recommend the 300 milligram for children and people who absolutely have no conditions that they have a desire to improve, which is absolutely nobody I know. So 300 milligram would be for those people. Then 500 milligram, of course, is one rung up. And those are for people who have some conditions that they want to improve, but they're not all that life diminishing. And then we graduate up to the 750. And this is where we start getting into people having more severe conditions more frequently that on regular basis lessens the quality of their life. And 750 will make great sense for them and they will benefit from it. And then the top of the tree on the full spectrum whole plant, as we know, is the 1500 milligram. And that's the highest strength. And it works for people who have severe conditions that plague them most all the time. Conditions like pain and inflammation, addictions for sure, sleep disorders, debilitating anxiety or anxiousness, and illnesses that I can't name, but most of us know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Those people at a minimum would need the 1500 milligram full spectrum whole plant, even if they're on the other side of treatment for that was conventional and invasive, to rebuild. And the higher grand poobah give them a chance to really reap the benefits of that great product also.
Awesome. Thank you. That was perfect. That was very, very helpful. Janet, you are such a fabulous leader yourself, but who do you turn to for leadership and guidance when you need it?
Oh, that's an easy one. My husband, Chap, He has been an incredible business coach for me, and you have to know how hard it is to work with someone like me who is really slow to learn, and it's very hard for me to retain lessons, and he is so incredibly patient with me, and he has incredible business acumen, Diane. And one of the things I really appreciate about Chip is networkers tend to make excuses for lack of professionalism and performance because we're in network marketing. We think that we're held to a different standard because we're not conventional business. And Chip is like, where do you ever get off telling yourself that? And he has really taught me to raise the bar of excellence of what I expect of myself and my team and others, and to hold a standard of excellence similar to what you would see in conventional business. And also, of course, I'm going to ring Klaus's bell again. He has been an amazing teacher for me. And this gentleman has built $3 million organizations in his long career in network marketing, and I learn from him every week. And then also, finally, I would say my assistant has been super helpful in guiding me, and she takes my ideas, Diane, and makes them look like $1 million for our team, so that all you get the value of what I'm intending to deliver, and then hopefully you'll be very proud of what it is that I share and share it with others. So I'll take this opportunity to mention here that the professionalism and the performance of Team Genesis, and I'm going to brag here, has commanded the respect of others in this company and industry-wide. And that's because what we're doing together here is allowing us to recruit a higher echelon of professionals, a higher caliber of people that are a notch above the rest, because their bar is set high and they're looking at what we're doing and how we're doing it, and our results are informing the world. I'm so proud of everybody.
Well, we really appreciate all that you're doing for us. Talking about Team Genesis, what goals do you have for Team Genesis? You've got some things coming up, right?
Oh, yeah. We've always got something on the drawing board to continue to provide all the associates here with the best tools and support offered anywhere. That's a high priority. And what makes this company so great, Diane? Yep, we've talked about our amazing products and our incomparable pay plan, but it without a doubt is the exceptional people here. And so it's this collective body of associates here, and the finest in network marketing I've ever worked with in 24 years in the industry. So I had time to name all of them tonight, but we don't, but they know who they are. And I'm grateful for each and every one of you and feel very privileged to be able to work alongside you.
Well, we're certainly privileged to work with you, sweetheart. Absolutely. What is the best way for associates to connect with you and Klaus and each other?
Right. That's a great question. We're working on this. We just created a Team Genesis channel so that we'll all have a chance to communicate with each other.
Awesome.
Leaders here can impart information and inspiration throughout the organization. And here's the great thing, Diane. It's completely private and secured. And it's even outside of the eyes of regulators. So I really appreciate this team over at LFI that's developed this tool, and we'll be moving forward with that and being connected more intimately to each other. So I'm very excited about that. And this is kind of a Team Genesis innovation, and it sits on a much bigger digital platform designed by LFI, and that company brought us the Shuffle app, as many of you know, and you use and Lee use,
yes,
along with the digital business cards that I speak of so often. So this great team has created a second to none platform for us, and it's created a dramatic and positive impact on our team. And actually, it's making waves across CTFO. And I think we have about 3,000 subscribers on that platform today, because
that's awesome.
24 years in this industry, hands down, it's the best tool I've ever used. It's slick and efficient. It's affordable. It's always as close as your phone. And it allows associates to recruit, convert, connect, and grow our businesses. What could be better than that? So look for some exciting announcements on that coming soon.
Excellent. Looking forward to it. So any last words of wisdom for our associates?
Oh my gosh, it's funny to have someone look to me for wisdom, but
there you go.
We've covered a lot of ground here, and I've talked about some aspects of our program, and we've talked about my challenges that I've had to overcome and a lot of my personal experience. But the main message I have for everyone in this meeting with us tonight is you can do this. Just think about it. I'm barely a high school graduate myself who struggled as a single mom most of my life. And I've had to reinvent myself in a lot of network marketing programs over the years. So this by far is the easiest and the best program I've ever seen. We've got the best products, and that just it covers what almost everybody needs and wants, and we have the exclusive competitive advantage on that, like our 10x Pure technology. Only we can offer it, and when you add that to our competitive pricing and a money-back guarantee, and the fact that it costs nothing to join here, how can you lose? So let's not. My wish for all of you is that you win big here at CTFO with us. Put on your jersey, suit up for the game, and let's play to win here. We're invincible and unstoppable, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely. Thank you, Janet. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap for tonight's presentation, and I want to thank you all for clearing your busy schedules to attend, and especially thank you, Janet, for sharing your story and valuable insights with us. I'm betting this will light a fire under the feet of every associate and guest in this meeting that's ready, really ready to change your future outcome. To our guests, someone took a chance tonight and thought enough of you to invite you to this forum. Your presence here with us is the first step. Now it's up to you to take the next step to move closer to living your best life on your terms by becoming an associate for free. Finally, take note that there will be no training this Saturday, but please join us again next Wednesday night for another powerful presentation. Look for your emails from us and hope to see you then. Good night, and God bless you.
Thank you, Diane.
You are welcome. Good night, Janet. Good night, everyone.